Tax season is upon us and taxpayers will be able to start filing from the 7th of July. That's when SARS opens e-filing. Whilst many will be eager to file as soon as possible with the hope of getting a rebate, there are others who are also rubbing their hands together, fraudsters. There are many ways for scammers to defraud taxpayers. They can be done via text, email, WhatsApp or telephone calls. Sometimes their methods are so advanced it's difficult to pick them up. And the fraudsters often use the fear factor to drive unsuspecting taxpayers into buying into their scam. Head of Standard Bank's Fraud Risk Management, Advocate Athaly Khan, joins us now. Good afternoon, thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
How are taxpayers being scammed? What's the most common scam?
Essentially, what happens with these scams is fraudsters will accost our clients either by sending them an email, SMS, a WhatsApp, or a voice call. And what they would do in these calls, they would convince the client that either they have a rebate or that they owe the receiver a certain amount of money. They would create some sort of angst and fear with the client, and the client would then be in a position where they would comprehend and work with the fraudsters. They would then send them this type of money either via a payment or through some other source.
What's the most sophisticated scam you've seen?
I think one of the most sophisticated scams that we've seen from a fraud perspective is customers sending clients emails purporting to be South African, revenue services. And in these emails, they would advise the client that they actually owe money. They would play out these emails in such a way that it looks exactly like it comes from the receiver.
But surely the address that they're sending it from would look different?
The addresses are very different. However, they change some nuances in the address so that it would then not go to the receiver and it would go to the fraud team that's working on it, the fraudsters.
What should we be looking out for?
Essentially, one of the most important things we should look out for is email addresses, and look very closely at the email addresses and look at the SARS email address and look and match the two. SARS has become very affluent in terms of how they communicate with clients. The processes has become very advanced, and you can always check in with them. They have a website. They also have an app. There's multiple places where you can go and validate and verify the actual email address. There's also numbers on the email where it will give you different account numbers. It could be from any bank. The Standard Bank account number they put on these emails is obviously not actual Standard Bank accounts that belong to the receiver. It belongs to a fraudster. We encourage our clients to use AVS to make sure that they check these accounts to make sure that they actually belong to the receiver.
What is AVS?
AVS is account verification services. It's part of the payment stream. So when you go into making a payment, it actually asks you on that screen, can you validate this account number for me? And the bank will then validate it for you.
Athaly, how do banks protect consumers from fraudulent activities on their bank accounts?
Essentially, there's multiple processes that we follow from a bank perspective. We advise customers through multiple media, posts. You'll find us on all social media platforms. We will advise customers, especially during tax season, be careful of who you're speaking to, be careful of the emails that you're receiving, and please don't click on any links. Try to validate and make sure that the links, that you're clicking on is real links. Do your research. We advise customers to do this all the time. Over and above that, we make sure that we have sophisticated systems in the background that will look for this type of unusual activity on a client's account.
Who do we report scams to if we are taking for a ride?
It is so important that every single client reports any scam through to the provider, which is their bank, directly to their fraud teams, and they will then send it through to the rest of the fraud departments to work through this. And we work very closely with the receiver.
Any advice for consumers at this point?
I think one of the things we always tell our clients is fraudsters create angst and anxiety. That's the first thing they do. So they'll try to move you away from doing things the way you would naturally do them so that you are in a position to do payments or make payments that you wouldn't usually do. And that's one of the things we always tell clients, always take a deep breath, validate, secure, and if your gut says it looks a bit strange, it generally would be. Always make sure that you validate, validate, validate.
That's great advice. Thank you very much. That was Advocate Athaly Khan, Head of Standard Bank's Fraud Risk Management.